Okay, let's get it. Black girl magic dripping. Yeah, she's on a mission. Keeping our culture lifted. Now you can watch and listen. Tammi Mac. Tammi Mac. Oh, what show is that? It's the Tammi Mac show on Fox Soul.
Tammi Mac, ay, Tammi Mac, yeah. Ooh, that Tammi Mac. Tammi Mac, ay, so you know it's Tammi Mac, ay, Tammi Mac.
Everybody, welcome to the Tammi Mac Late Show on Fox Soul. I really did need my little glass tonight, honey, because it's about to be on and full of the Black girl magic. So March is Women's History Month. And tonight, the business of being Black are women who are killing it in their careers. Black women who are dominating in their careers have carved out spaces for themselves in spite of all the opposition. And believe me, it's opposition that the world has put in their way. The business of being Black tonight is celebrating Black women for Women's History Month. Please welcome celebrity fashion designer and self-madepreneur, Maxi J. Hi, Maxi.
Hey, how are you?
The co-founder of Leading Ladies of Logistic, Freight, Broker, and Fleet owner, Samantha Smith. Hi, Samantha.
Hi.
Journalist and the host of More Than That and the Black Girl Podcast, Gia Peppers. What's going on, Gia?
Hi, happy to be here.
Thank you for being here. Now, look, folk always talking about the Black girl magic. I don't think many people know what that really means. I guess some people found out during this election what Black girl magic was all about. I'll tell you that. But why should people care? More specifically, why should Black people care? Why should Black people care about Black women being Black queens wearing a crown?
Yes, I love that question. One, because Black people all came from Black women. Let's be clear about that. If you care about your mama, if you care about your sisters, if you care about your cousins, if you care about your nana, whoever you care about, you came from a Black woman. Like Tupac always said, we all got a name from a woman and our game from a woman. So we need to respect our women. And for so long, Black women have been each other's safe spaces. And I would love to see the world be a safer space for Black women. And that starts with all Black people making sure that Black women feel seen, supported, and heard, because we out here killing it. Three examples right here on the screen.
Yeah.
Samantha.
Ooh, I mean, I think Gia said it all. I mean, like she said, we came from a Black woman. That's why we even created the Leading Ladies of Logistics for Black women and for minority women. We wanted to create that safe space. I mean, like she said, we're doing the thing. We have so many barriers and so many things against us, and we just keep continuing to push through.
All right. Yeah, we and push through we do, Maxi.
Absolutely.
Why
yes, as we all know, we were never given absolutely anything in our culture. Like I don't know how to, I call them others, any other race other than Black people. They were given a lot of opportunities and we were given nothing. And it just trips me out still to this day that like Black women, Black people, but women specifically, because we were looked at as like less than, and we were supposed to be like play our plays, and we're supposed to be like this woman that just takes care of the household and just bear children, and we're like out here killing it, making millions, and we're bosses and we're responsible for a lot of people's livelihoods. And it was the point in time where that was like impossible for Black women. So we definitely should care, because we definitely have broke history.
Yeah, we were the last on the totem pole to even be able to vote.
Absolutely.
And I think that's something that should be taken into consideration when you think about the Black women who helped the women's suffrage movement and who helped white women to be able to vote, all the while we still couldn't.
Exactly.
We have to tap Black women on our shoulders, because when white women wasn't breastfeeding their babies, we was taking our titty out feeding them.
Exactly.
You understand what I'm saying? So, Gia, many people talk about the role that the media plays in the depiction of Black people. Why is it important for Black people to see representation in the media? How do you think the media has played a part in the representation of Black women?
The media has played a part in the representation of Black women in two major ways. And I think it's torn us down at many times. In this past decade, it has built us back up, because we have people like Shonda Rhimes, like Issa Rae, like Lena Waithe, like Ava DuVernay, like all of these, Oprah Winfrey herself, hello to the just interview that we just saw this weekend. You know, there are so many people who are behind these movements now of creating spaces for Black women to absolutely have the depth on screen. It's not just a one-sided, one-dimensional character anymore. We even saw that with Mara Akil in Girlfriends and then being Mary Jane, right? Like now Black women are writing our stories and we're telling our stories and we're being loud about those stories and loud about the support in telling those stories as well. So now little girls have so many examples to look up to, and grown women as well, because we still need those examples.
Yeah. Samantha, you talk about your logistics company. So look, I don't even know what that is. I haven't a clue. And you're making a space for women in it. And I have to say that there are so many areas and avenues that women, period, but especially Black women, don't necessarily dive into because of the lack of knowledge, because of the lack of representation, because of us not even being aware that this is something that exists. So tell us about what you do and how you create the space for Black women to go into something other than television and film and being a teacher, maybe.
Absolutely. So to even start off, I'm actually a full-time IT specialist for the Department of Defense. So that's my full-time job. So we own trucks. I'm a freight broker and I'm a real estate investor. One thing that I can tell people about getting into the transportation industry, which is just the movement of freight. You don't have to have a truck. Like you said, a lot of people don't understand that. Everyone thinks that you have to have a truck to be in the transportation industry, and you don't. To get those trucks moved, you can actually be a freight broker, which you actually go out to get to that. You actually get a customer that has the freight. You can be a dispatcher. That means you're actually just dispatching the trucks to keep them busy. When I got into the industry, there was no one like me. I mean, I'm talking about women, I'm talking about minority. And I was like, it's a lot of money to be made. It is a male dominant industry, but my heart is for the woman. And that's why we created that organization, because we wanted to show these women that you don't have to be an accountant. You don't have to be the receptionist or the secretary. Like, you can actually run your own business. So I have nothing but refrigerated trailers. So all your produce, your frozen goods, that's probably been, that you purchased from the store, I may have delivered those. And that's why we were trying to, like I said, educate people to let them know you don't have to have this truck. There is space for us women, and we're going to show you how to get into that space.
Girl, you bringing home the bacon in a whole nother way.
Absolutely.
Love it. So I want to know, though, how specifically did you and I both talked about the lack of knowledge in such an area. So how did you even find out about it? How did this happen?
So my husband actually was in the business before me. So he was partnered with someone else. The guy wanted to sell his truck. The guy actually ran the back office. So my husband really didn't understand the paperwork. He's like, is it something that you want to get into? I wish I could show you my office. My office is my own classroom. I taught myself. I created my own binders. I created my own policies, procedures. When I say I'm like the all-in-one for my company, we don't outsource any of our reports or taxes, anything like that. So when I kind of was like forced to get into the industry, is through his bloodline. And honestly, I took it and I felt like I just kind of like revamped it into something that, we're just growing. And honestly, like, we're turning down opportunities because we don't even have enough trucks to cover it. I'm comfortable where I'm at, and I don't want to, outgrow, or I don't want to do more than what I don't feel like I can handle.
But you can definitely pass it on to another woman who can have a business as such, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you said logistics. I'm like, girl, you done lost me completely. Maxi, what is a self-madepreneur?
Well, that word, I made that word up myself, because a self-madepreneur in my mind is someone who's self-taught, someone who is following their dreams, going after their dreams, putting God first, and teaching yourself everything you know, and just trusting that God is going to see you through your journey. Being self-taught, but still being an entrepreneur. So you may not have that degree, which I don't have. You may not have that fancy college degree or the master's or the bachelor's, but you have knowledge and you have faith, and you can accomplish anything you want with those things.
And so what is it that you've always desired to accomplish and it has become in a real sense for you?
I've been into fashion since I was in junior high school. I've been winning best dress literally since junior high, like no flex, but I have. And I've always I've literally always wanted to be like an internationally known designer, fashion designer. And I was like I did Paris Fashion Week, and I was one of the first Black owned fashion brands that featured in Paris Fashion Week. That was a dream of mine. Same for my stores. I had stores on Melrose, and I was like one of the only Black women on Melrose with 2 retail stores. So those were, and I also have a manufacturing business in Turkey, Istanbul, and literally my whole team does not speak English except for one. And I still seem to manage to maintain that. And that's just a dream of mine. And God is just so good.
God is so good. He's so good. He created the Black woman. We're going to continue to talk about the crown that we wear when we return on the Tammi Mac Late Show on Fox Soul. Welcome back to the Tammi Mac Late Show on Fox Soul, where tonight the business of being Black tonight is our Black queens, baby. Yes, we hold the crowns right here on our head. I got a crown. I need to put my crown on tonight. Shoot. Yes, it is Women's History Month. And so we would like to highlight 3 women who are doing it big, killing the game, all that. If you want more of this content, though, you can actually just subscribe to our YouTube channel and make sure you hit the notification bell so you can get all the updates, and you can also get new videos and live shows. And if you like what you're hearing, if you like what you're seeing, if you're feeling us, click that thumbs up button. It's just that easy. Please welcome celebrity fashion designer and self-madepreneur. Her name would be Maxi J. She's here with us today, the co-founder of Leading Ladies of Logistics, freight broker and fleet owner, Samantha Smith, and then journalist and the host of More Than That and the Black Girl podcast, Gia Peppers. So let's talk about men now, okay? How, Samantha, you talked about how your husband kind of got you into the business of freight and how he helped you to take the business to a whole nother level because it's kind of was his family lineage. And then you self-taught yourself. I guess I could say like Maxi said, you were a self-madepreneur.
Right.
And took the business to heights to where it's at the point that you can't even really accept new business. That's big. That's a big thing. And so I would imagine from your perspective, men have been there to help you rise to the occasion.
Kinda. So, I mean, really, the men, like I said, it's a male dominant industry. Believe it or not, there's actually a lot of pushback from men in this industry. I was able to surround myself with, like I said, with other women that actually helped me and motivated me to kind of get to the level that I'm at. I don't really feel like there's a lot of, I feel bad saying this, a lot of men doesn't accept us in this industry. They can be rude. They don't feel like you understand it because, you're not actually driving. But one thing that I can say, I mean, my husband has helped me tremendously. He actually goes out into the trucks. He actually drives. He actually does the repairs, or most of the repairs, the ones that he can actually handle. But like I said, for the most part, I feel like it's a lot of women that's actually been some more supportive than what men have been.
Yeah. Do you think men underestimate women?
Absolutely. Especially in this field, because like I said, we don't drive. I think they feel like, because we don't know what a hose is, or we don't do the pre-checks, or we don't do certain things that it takes for, that most men do, but they don't understand us women. We are out here, we're driving. 7% of women drivers make up this industry. 15% of women makes up this industry. I mean, it is a low number, but we're out here. I mean, it's an $800 billion industry. So that percentage sounds low, but there is a lot. And now that, you have social media and you have other outlets, I mean, every day I just keep finding out more and more people are like I said, actually drivers. There's this lady her name is Sheree. She's part of She Trucking. She has a community of nothing but women drivers. And I mean, it's like over like 10,000 drivers just in her community. And I never knew that until, like I said, I got into social media and I got into this field.
Yeah. Gia, I want to talk about women. Obviously, you're in the media. So let's talk about women in the media and how they have to deal with men. Being a part of the media, I have to say that it is not as male dominated as it used to be, sister. I mean, women have pretty much, Oprah kind of opened that door. Like, she didn't open a door. She
changed the game.
She bust the levee open. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Like the media is now drowning with women in ways that I don't think we could have ever imagined. And I mean that in the sense of Black women and white women. There are women who are on ESPN now, women that are covering sports now. I mean, media has definitely changed. I used to always complain that when it comes to the news, you can always see an old ass white man, but they don't never want you to see no old woman. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, they never were, like, we always have to be in our 20s to be to cover the news.
Yeah, I definitely think that, I mean, just thinking of the women that you just named, there are so many of us who are living the legacy that they created, right? Oprah Winfrey literally blew the roof off of every expectation and shattered every ceiling to the point where now she has her own network, but can still go on to CBS this morning and speak up with her best friend in the morning about the interview that she did the night before. So there's just so many women that get to live the legacy, including you, Angela Yee, who is also on Fox Soul. We have Danielle Young, Scotty Beam, so incredible, so many incredible women that are actually doing this. And then I have to give a big ups to Kathy Hughes, my boss's boss. More Than That show is a Urban One, Radio One show. And on the show, we get to talk about so many incredible things, but we wouldn't have that without these women, these trailblazers before us. And we have so many incredible women on. Our latest episode features Lauren Ash, who is actually the founder of Black Girl and Own, which is all about Black women's healing. And she comes on and drops gems about how we can put our healing first, because as we know, we often put ourselves last. So even opening up conversations like that has been my favorite thing about the More Than That show. And, it's available everywhere podcasts are streaming, but I really am so excited that it's on radio too, because Kathy Hughes, again, trailblazer, no one like her.
Yeah, we cannot, we definitely cannot take what Kathy Hughes has done for radio and for media for granted. Just because she's not Oprah Winfrey, she was the first Black woman to own a significant amount of radio stations across the nation, and to own a network as well. So we have to give her shine and have to give her due. And she has employed so many Black people. A lot of people think about Bob Johnson, but when it comes to the media, I think about Kathy Hughes because she gave so many women opportunities behind the camera.
Yes. And she's still doing it to this day. So it's awesome.
Let me check in with our soulmates because they're weighing in here. Let's see. Monica says, check out Sam. Love this. Nikki says, yes, Maxi, that's my girl. LaShandra says, the representation of a Black woman has elevated, and it's inspiring young Black girls to see the diversity of a Black woman. I was today years old when I heard about Fox Soul.
Come on.
I'm glad you will be a year older you will be a day older tomorrow when you hear about Gia, I love her on Black Coffee with Mark.
Oh, thank you.
And Bo says, yep, some men talk down to women in this industry. So I want to know the dirt here. I want to know the tea here, ladies. And I'm going straight to you, Maxi. Let's talk about when you had to deal with a man in a way that you didn't particularly want to deal with because all you was trying to do was do your job.
Right. In the fashion industry, I don't really come across men that I didn't want to have to deal with because all I want to do is my job. Like we do, our industry majority is women. Well, what I can say is that what's unfortunate is that Black women don't support each other as much as we should. And they kind of gravitate more to the gay men in my industry more than a woman. And even when I had retail stores, I would purposely hire gay men because I knew that how catty women sometimes could be in my industry. And of course, I just want, everyone to kind of get along. So unfortunately, I felt like that's what I think was kind of tough for me to have to deal with in my industry, because I just think that it shouldn't be that way. And instead of me crying over spilled milk, I just try to set the standard of how we should handle each other. I'm always giving back to women that's coming up behind me in the industry, Black, orange, red, or green. And so instead of me feeling like, okay, it's unfortunate that, everyone puts this stereotype that Black women don't support each other and it's catty and this and that. Instead of me crying over spilled milk, let me just be an example and pray that I attract the kind of people and the energy that I want to have around me. And I pray that starts to trickle down and become an effect on the next person, the next person, and the next person coming up in the industry. So if anything, I feel like I used to feel like I needed to hire gay men in my stores because women didn't get along with women, unfortunately. But eventually I just said, you know what? I need to make sure that I just hire people with great character who has the same character and integrity as I do. And we can just start to set the standard and I can only change what I have control over, which is in my little world, in my retail stores and my customer service teams. I hire women. My entire team and both of my businesses, my stores in Turkey and Istanbul, and my team here in Los Angeles, California, are women. So I'm very intentional with what I do, and all I can do is just control what I have control over.
So Maxi, I hear you say that most of the people in your industry are women, but you're a fashion designer, right?
Yes.
And when I think of fashion, I think of a male-dominated industry. I think of Tommy Hilfiger. I think of Michael Kors. I think of maybe Calvin Klein. I think of all of these, Versace. The only woman I really, probably know is maybe Stella McCarthy, Gloria Vanderbilt.
Really?
But they all come from wealth. They all come from wealth, and they were kind of born into this wealth. Even when I think of FUBU, fashion and where that comes from. I
think those are, in the fashion industry, you have to know your muses and you have to know your lane. Those are not my lanes. Those are all male-owned businesses that sell male clothing who probably added some feminine, pieces, but their male pieces was like their main source of income and their main, for me, my competitors are women. The businesses that I am compared to are women-owned brands. I'm not ever compared to a men's owned brand in my industry ever. And I've been in the industry for 6 years. So my muse is women. So my whole community is women. The brands that I am compared to, the brands that that are similar to mine, we're all women-owned brands. So I suppose, in fact, I can hear your point, but in fashion, when you have a certain muse, your community is that muse. So I wouldn't compare myself to I just got a feature for Fashion Nova, but we aren't the same kind of brand. There's a certain kind of brand that you establish your brand as, and those are the brands that you kind of are always compared to, even not even trying. That's just what the muses compare you to. So I don't.
Now, what are you saying? Are you saying the muse? At all. Are you saying
a muse is the girl I sell to? So the girl that wears my kind of clothes, okay. Who I market to is the kind of woman that would wear my brand. So that's what I mean by my muse. So my muse is myself. So I market and brand to the kind of woman that I am. And it just happens to be a whole lot of me out here in this world.
All right now. Okay. All right. Gia, so let's talk about the men. Have you ever had to deal with a man in a way that disrupted you from doing your job or that undermined what you were doing?
For sure. I think you probably can speak to this too, working in media. A lot of the times when you are brought on to these male and female co-host jobs, people will automatically pay women less, as if we have less to owe Sally Mae and less to pay in bills. And so I have actually—
Well, more than that, as if our talent is less.
Absolutely. And that's I wouldn't even ever think that, but you are totally right. And that's how they go with it. And so for me, I definitely have learned to speak up for myself and even ask my male counterparts. And luckily, I've had a lot of really great people who are men. My first person I interned for was Donnie Simpson, and then Big Tigger. And then I worked with Ebro Darden, and then Mark Lamont Hill and Rodney Rakai, and so many great people. And they all Kobe Bryant. Hello, interview Kobe Bryant. He was nothing but nice, and may he rest in peace forever. Such an incredible guy to get to be around. But like I said, I have really great men in my life, starting with my dad down, who have always just told me the truth because I asked for it. So I've had a really great experience, actually. But I know that's not always the case.
Right. Absolutely not. But we're going to talk about more cases. Now that we've talked about the men, let's talk about the women. who make these women queens. We'll do that when we return on the Tammi Mac Late Show on Fox Soul. Welcome back to the Tammi Mac Late Show on Fox Soul, where tonight we are talking about the queens that the Black women be, y'all. The queens that the Black women be. Get it? You see what I did there? Okay, never mind. I'm talking to Maxi J, Gia Peppers, and Samantha Smith. I want to know what role women played in your lives. For me, I have to say I have both male and female mentors, but obviously women stay close to our heart because there's something about them that make us us in a very feminine way. And so like my school teachers are forever, my theater coach, Sandra Shelton, and the woman who was the program director of the radio station KTSU in Houston, Texas, on the campus of Texas Southern University, Deidre, and Thelma Johnson, who was my journalism teacher in high school. I mean, women have been a huge part of making me who I am today. And it goes without say, my mother and my grandmother. And so I wonder, what part do women play in your lives, Samantha?
So yeah, I mean, to agree, my mother and grandmother, my grandmother had 15 children. You know, they don't make them like that anymore. And
they don't make utero like that anymore.
Right. And just, I mean, her strength and just, oh man, like, I don't know. It's just, she was a one of a kind woman. And my mother, just the sacrifices she made. I make the same sacrifices for my children. I actually have 5 children. We're a blended family.
You're almost there. You're almost to 15.
We stopping. We're done.
You got 10 more to go, Samantha.
Oh, there's my babies right there. So yeah, and I mean, honestly, I just think them too, like the sacrifices, and it just showed me like nothing comes easy, you know. And if it does,
so what is one instant? Because there's always a pivotal moment in our lives that we notice our mothers in a specific sense. What is something you remember the most from your mom?
Honestly, when we had to move with my grandmother, so I went to public schools. Okay. And my mom like refused for me to stay in there, not because it was getting worse. Right. And my mom was like, I want you to have a really good education. She's like, I just don't want you to go through that. We actually moved into like a little town with my grandmother. It was a 1-bedroom apartment. I'll never forget it. Me and my brother actually slept on the couch, and we did that while we were waiting for our place to be built back, you know, in the city. And we stayed there for a year, and it was like the longest year of my life. And it's like, you know, I was a teenager. I didn't understand it until now. And I'm like, wow, my mom really made, I'm getting all emotional right now, but I'm like, my mom really made that sacrifice for me, you know, because she wanted me to be able to get a good education and not have to worry about, you know, like the fights and the troublemakers and things like that. But that is definitely one time that stood out. Like I said, that sacrifice that she made for me.
Yeah. I think the sacrifice my mom made for me, I remember the most is when she pawned the TV to buy my prom dress.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. I remember that very well. Yeah. Gia, what woman in your life?
I would be remiss if I didn't start with my mother. I would not be here had it not been for her and my father. My mom is the epitome of a hustler. Like when I contribute to so many platforms, I do a lot of work with the Today Show, E-Entertainment, like so many things. And she taught me how to hustle. She's a dentist. She's been working for the DC, you know, varying DC places for a long time, serving her community, you know, giving back in so many ways. And so my mom is definitely the blueprint for me, and does it with a heart of gold too, and has sacrificed, like Samantha was saying, so many things. And, you know, other than that, I would have to say Debbie Allen. Debbie Allen is the blueprint for so many things in entertainment, whether she's directing, acting, choreographing, whatever she's doing, she is always excellent. And now she's in her 70s and is still working as hard, if not harder than she has ever worked before. And simultaneously giving back at her school, the Debbie Allen Dance Academy, which is one of the most incredible places ever. I was able to go there for 4 summers myself. And, you know, Taylor Page, who is now starring in Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, was also a person in there as well. There's so many great students that have graduated from that program, and we all have to thank Miss Allen for just showing us that a career in entertainment was possible. And to show us how to live with light, honey. She is everything. If you go to her Instagram, she's always dancing and giving life to everything and everybody. So just definitely my mama, Miss Allen, and so many incredible women.
Debbie Allen graduated from the same high school that I graduated from in Houston.
Come on, Texas.
And I have always wanted to meet her, but I don't want to meet her. Do you understand that? Like I've always wanted to meet her.
You do want to meet her.
I want to meet her because you know when you have this you put somebody so high on a pedestal and you have all of these expectations, and now I'm a little bit older and I'm like, oh my God, I don't want my expectations and how I view this woman to be shattered right before my very eyes. I don't want it to happen. So I have intentionally like ducked and dodged meeting Debbie Allen as much as I want to meet her. And just
Tammy, I promise you, she is the nicest person. She is everything you think she is and more. So next time you get to see her, go on up and say hello. She'll probably give you a hug. Well, maybe not in COVID, but she'll definitely give you some love in the midst of it.
So do you remember any specific time that stands out in your mind about your mom, Gia?
Woo! How much time you got? My mother is such a strict person when it comes to education. And, you know, Black folks knew long time ago that was the key to our freedom and our success, educating each other and being educated and staying educated. And so in school, when I was not on it, my mother would stay up with me, no matter what time she got home from working, would stay up with me until 1 and 2 a.m. to make sure that I was able to get my A's on my test, B's on my test, or great grades. And so this one year I was in AP Bio because my mom asked me to be in it. Mind you, I hate science. I run away from blood. I did not want anything to do with it, but my mom had signed me up for that class and I had good enough grades. And so it was the night before like a midterm exam and I did not know anything. It just wasn't sitting with me. So my mom stayed up with me and did a whole study guide for me and like made me walk around the island in our kitchen until I got it. So that is the type of person my mom is. She will ride with me. She does that for my brother and my sister. And she's the type of person that my brother will have a great basketball game and then have a great opportunity in another state and will drive him in the middle of the night to get him there for that type of camp. So like she just is the go hard type of mama that we all need.
That's why you've had all these damn jobs you done had with Wendy Williams, ET, Essence, NBA. That's your mama right there. That's your mama all up in you, girl. All up.
Yes.
Maxi, I have to know, who is the woman that gave you the crown, that passed it on to you?
You know, it's so interesting. My mother is very old school. My mother is in her 70s. And she, honestly, in the beginning, she wasn't my biggest fan when it came to me trying to start my own business. My mother, she's a very safe 9-to-5, 401k. Like she doesn't have like the entrepreneur spirit, if I could be completely honest. And she did try to detour me from going into business for myself because she didn't want to see me struggle. So she would tell me all the time, like, Maxi, just get a job, just do that on the side. I'm like, no, mom, I have to do this full time or I'm not going to get the results that I want. And she's like, baby, please just get a job. I'm like, no. So I'm literally like, did not go to school for what I want to do. I'm like going downtown, Googling on my phone, how do you make your own clothes from scratch? Okay. They gave me like this list of things and I'm like, okay, I need a pattern maker. I literally walked up and down the streets of downtown LA here in Los Angeles, California, knocking door to door, asking for these things on this list that I had no idea what they were. I didn't know what a pattern maker was. I didn't know what a grader was. I'm like asking for a pattern. They're like, you need a pattern maker? Yeah, that. Do you know what door I can go to get that? Yeah, thank you. So I'm literally going door to door and no one's speaking English. No one's understanding what I'm even asking for. And I'm crying my eyes out, walking down the street, feeling so discouraged after I just had this whole fight with my mom about I'm starting this business and I don't care what anyone says. And I bump into a woman with a brand. It's called Stand Tall. She designs, I will never forget her. I haven't seen her in 6 years, but I will never forget her. She designs for for tall women specifically. Her whole line is for tall women. And she sees I'm crying and she has all these papers in her hand and I like bumped into her. I'm like, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to. And she stops like, why are you crying? I'm just like, I'm trying to start a fashion line and I just don't know what to do. That woman literally took me to every single person she used for her brand, from her pattern maker, her grader, and I don't deal with those people anymore, but that it was my kickstart. And she literally just was so selfless and just told me, oh girl, first of all, you're on the wrong side of downtown. You need to go on this side. And like, here, I'll take you to my pattern maker. I'll take you to my manufacturer. And I started with them. I'm not with them anymore, but I don't know how I would have ever figured it out. And I'm just feel so grateful that a stranger was that selfless to me.
Yeah.
And I always acknowledge her every time someone asks me a question similar to that. And yes, it's Tiana, and she owns a brand called Stand Tall.
So we're going to stand tall as the Black queens we are and take a break and come right back on the Tammi Mac Late Show on Fox Soul. Welcome back to the Tammi Mac Late Show on Fox Soul, where tonight we celebrate Women's History Month with the crowns that Black women wear. And welcoming to the show, logistics and freight owner Samantha Smith, fashion designer Maxi J, and television personality Gia Peppers. Hey, ladies. Hey, queens. Let's go to the soulmates right now. Let's see here. Oh, gotta get this beautiful LA Lisquet outfit. I can't wait to wear my birthday dress. Maxi is the greatest. Hands up, hands up, hands up. That was on there.
Thank you.
I have actually heard an HR executive say women get compensated less because of maternity leave, since they are always out of the office due to their babies.
Who said that?
Okay. Yes, very good questions. I've been sleeping on this show. I'll definitely be checking it out. Thank you. I hope you will check it out. Debbie Allen is the queen of longevity in entertainment. She has managed to transform herself from choreography to acting to directing to entrepreneur to school principal. Jeffrey Nixon, Avi, I don't read. Okay, Avi, Jeffrey Nixon says, Tammi, we need you in daytime. Fox, make it happen. Okay, Fox, make it happen. Let's talk about how women make it happen. Hold on. I got to get this one in. Gia is a breath of fresh air. Samantha is a lightning force, and Maxi is a stylistic maven. There you go. Yeah. Giving all y'all some of that women's history love. How about that?
That's good. That's
sweet.
That was sweet. Thank you.
So Samantha, let's talk about the hard times for you, because as much as people think Black women are strong, and we don't deny our strength. And we oftentimes have to do a lot. We have to multitask in very large ways. But when was there a time where you just thought you just couldn't take it anymore?
To be honest, when I ended up in the hospital on with a heart monitor, I literally was breaking myself down. I was stressing myself out and pushing myself to prove that I knew what I could do, and I knew that it could be done. But honestly, I ended up in the hospital because of stress. I set sometimes unrealistic goals for myself, and I try to complete them in times that are not realistic, obviously. And I've kind of learned that, you know what, whatever I got to do, it's going to get done when it gets done. And that I don't have to stress myself out that much, because stress will take you out. And I've learned that the hard way.
Maxi, what about you?
2 years ago, I lost my stores on Melrose, and I lost hundreds of thousands of dollars, and it knocked the wind out of my chest. And I just was so hard on myself, because I'm like, I'm seasoned entrepreneur. I've been in this business at the time for 4 years. How could I let this happen? I mentor so many young girls. I went on a tour, and I would go from city to city, and I would literally host classes of almost 300 women, teaching women how to do what I'm doing. And I took that kind of loss. I was sick to death. I literally was like in my bed for like 2 weeks straight, crying my eyes out. And then I just got up one day and said, okay, girl, you got like 2 seconds to be a wuss now. Now we got to get back to business. We got to get back to business now. We got to make it shake.
What happened, Maxi? How did you end up losing those 2 stores?
Well, I was on Melrose, and my first store did amazing. I mean, I did numbers out of this world, and I felt like I expanded too quickly. I feel like what I've learned now in entrepreneurship, that it's okay sometimes to stay in the overflow. You don't have to be so quick to expand. And
it's funny you say that, because Samantha was saying the same thing earlier. She said that they have so much business that she can't take on anymore, but she doesn't want to overexert and take on more than it's time to take on.
Yes. And I had to learn that the hard way, because I took on more than what I can bear, and my team wasn't large enough to handle the kind of traffic that I brought to myself. And I was losing more money than what I was making, because I didn't have the solid team to maintain my online presence and my retail stores.
That's a lesson. I mean, you just shared a huge lesson with people out there, because I remember Oprah Winfrey did a Where Are They Now kind of show. And you know how Oprah used to highlight these businesses or products. And once you go on her show, your products, I mean, you go from selling 10 to 110,000 items. And so most of those businesses said that after the Oprah show, they couldn't survive because they were not ready to fulfill those types of
to
orders.
Scale that quickly.
That's a great lesson, obviously, that you learned, but also to share that with our viewers and women who think that it's a bad thing to kind of make mistakes and get back up and get back at it again, but you learn from them all. Gia, I want to learn from your mistake. When was there a time that you thought, I can't be as strong as I thought I was?
Absolutely. We know in media that the turnover is so real. The firings and the hirings happens quicker than you can blink sometimes. And you could be working for years and have a great career and a great reputation. But if somebody says they're done and they no longer need you, you are out of a job. And so I think one of the reasons why I love working on varying projects, why I like to do more than one thing, is because I have now learned how to manage all the things just in case one thing does fall. And so right before I started working with BET, I had worked with Essence and I loved it there, but there was a seasonal staff and my staff position was over, and it was after a Wizard season and I had no money, no money coming in, no money coming out. It was just a mess of a time. And I remember really feeling like maybe this isn't for me. Maybe this was just something that worked for a little while and I don't need to be here. New York is expensive. This is a lot.
Yeah.
And the person that really kept me focused was Ebro Darden at Hot 97. He pulled me to the side and was like, look, I know that at the end of the day, you are a genius. You're great at this. I believe in you. You're still going to run my site for these next few months. Something else will come. And you have to have people around you that believe in you when you can't believe in yourself. That is so important, because at the end of the day, every journey is going to have its pitfalls. Every single journey is going to have a moment that makes you question whether or not you should be in it. And when you have real people who want to see you win, who aren't the crabs in the barrel, who are the people that lift you up, you will be able to go to them and say, hey, look, I'm having a really bad time right now. I feel like giving up. And they'll say, don't you dare. And I think those people are so important. And I've, had that in Ebro, but in so many women and men in my career as well, because that wasn't the first time or the last time I experienced that, but it was one of the ones that I realized I had to be confident in my talent and who I was and what I was able to do with this opportunity.
Yeah. Ladies, I don't want to talk about the letdowns that you've had without talking about how you come up out of them. So Gia, thank you for telling us how you got up out of it. Samantha, I want to know now, how did you get up out of it? Because like Gia says, when you make these mistakes or when certain things happen or don't go the way that you anticipated, you do kind of get the sense that maybe this is not what God wants me to do. So then how do you decide that it is what God wants you to do? Or do you decide it isn't what God wants you to do? How does that happen, Sam?
That is a great question. Honestly, it was a lot of prayers, like a lot of signs, like, you know, like God showed me a sign. Honestly, I tell people I do work full time, but trucking is my passion. I feel like, kind of how Maxi said, I feel like everything happens for a reason. I knew that I was placed in this position not only to, you know, create a legacy for my children, but to help other women. What's the saying? Like, I'm happy I don't look like what I've been through, because what I've been through, it has been crazy. And I knew that where I'm at now, I was always meant to be. But like I said, I think just a sign from God.
How do you know that, Samantha? How do you know that?
Because I think the way that my mind started working and like the processes that I started putting into place and how easier it became, I think I just knew that was my calling. And the fact that I met with certain women, kind of how Gia said, I met with certain women that became my accountability partners. And I knew that the way that they were motivating me and the knowledge that I was able to pass on to other women with the mentoring, I knew that this was my calling, because I never had a woman, I never had like an older cousin or an older sister. So I became other people's like older sisters in this industry. And I helped them not make the same mistakes and the same failures that I made. Because I mean, these failures here, I mean, you can look at a $20,000 repair easily. These are costly failures. So I knew it was my calling, like I said, to help other women in this industry.
Wow. We're going to continue to help other women in every industry when we continue to talk about the crowns that Black women wear. All that Black girl magic up on the Tammi Mac Late Show tonight. We're coming right back on Fox Soul. Welcome back to the Tammi Mac Late Show on Fox Soul. I am thanking my guests for being here. Samantha, leading ladies of logistics. Talk about it.
Yeah, so we are a organization that mentors other women in the logistics and transportation industry. So not only do we mentor them, we help them with training, any type of development. So right now, me and the other ladies, we're actually going to be doing more like some satellite and pop-up opportunities, such as like, you know, training classes to really help people get into the transportation industry the right way. But we are, like I said, an amazing organization. Like I said, we just help all women. We do help men too. We do help train, but like I said, our heart is with the women. We've been around since 2017, and it's me and 3 other ladies that are all members of the organization. But there you
go. Oh, okay. Maxi, Fashion Nova shouting you out and everything, but I'm sure what you want to talk about most is your own fashion. So
yeah, LA Lascae, she is my pride and joy. I do own multiple businesses, as I mentioned earlier, but LA Lascae is my passion. And she, when she knocked the wind out of my chest 2 years ago, I'm so happy and proud to see how much she's growing every single month since we relaunched. I've only been relaunched for 7 months, and by the end of the month, we'll already be at 1 million in sales. And I just remember losing that money and just feeling like the world was crashing, and it was only a couple $100,000. And to see her bounce back, I'm just so grateful. I'm about to start crying on here, but I'm just so grateful. I put my heart and soul into this business, and I have a spring collection that I'm launching next month, and she is everything. So whoever's birthday is next month, girl, I'm giving the look. So don't even worry about it. Don't worry about it.
Well, my birthday was last month. Is that one of your designs you're wearing tonight?
Yes, she is. She's giving fringe, blazer dress vibe. She cute.
I'm loving it. Look, I'm like, can you stand up? Because I love a blazer dress.
Oh, yes, girl. You know, no problem.
I don't know if we can stand up. I love a blazer dress. Yeah.
It's giving shimmy.
Yes, it's giving us some Tina Turner shimmy, girl. Some Tina Turner. I like it. And where can people go to get their hands on your designs?
I have shifted my business model from retail storefronts to online only. I have a warehouse downtown LA. So my website is www.lalascae.com. We do allow you to pick up your orders if you don't want to wait on shipping, but predominantly we just ship online and we ship worldwide.
So Gia, let's talk about the Black Girl Podcast and more than that. When does it air? How do we watch? What you talking about?
Right. So, Black Girl Pod is one project, but I really want to make sure I talk about more than that because it's the newest one. It's my series that's with Urban One Studios. And essentially, we are exploring the new conversations of elevated consciousness that have been happening within our community, especially the things that we were all able to uncover and learn within 2020. We talk about eating right for your body type with Pinky Cole, the founder of Slutty Vegan ATL. We talk about how to fearlessly approach your finances with Arian Simone, the founder of Fearless Fund, the only Black woman owned and operated venture capitalist firm. And so we explore these new levels and these new conversations that we're having within our communities that everybody acts like they know about, but don't really know about. And so we really get the experts on. I interviewed a Black farmer that made me want to get a farm, honey. So there's all types of things. And so you can look up more than that with Gia Peppers. It's available everywhere you get your podcast and even on some local radio stations as well during the weekend. So we want you all to tune in and hopefully you learn something that inspires you to think differently about something. It's not judgy, but we are going to give you new information and hopefully it'll make you greater.
There it is.
I love it.
You hit the spot for me. That's what the Tammi Mac Late Show does. It makes you greater. And I want to thank you great women for coming on the show tonight. Thank you, Samantha. Thank you, Maxi J. Thank you, Gia Peppers. Until tomorrow, everybody, it's a blessing to be on your box. It's a blessing to be in your box on the Tammi Mac Late Show on Fox Soul. Bye, y'all.